Alright, in today's video, I'm going to talk to you about how to get started stamping without making a lot of decisions and getting frustrated. So this is a process I have been working on or working with for the last several weeks, and I have found it to be truly helpful. So we're going to go over the process. First, you're going to want to pick out the supplies you're going to want to work with. Maybe you got a new set of stamps or dies. Just limit your supplies. We're going to use some of these. We're just going to limit our supplies and we're going to make a few cards. But the first thing you're going to want to do is do some decisionless die cutting. And what I mean by that is you're going to take your pick out a few dies, 3 to 4 die sets, and just die cut those from your cardstock. Whatever cardstock you're going to be using, you can die cut them from just white and color them. But here I have just die cut several little things that I thought I might use. I've cut some panels. I have used some of the Heroarts dies that I plan on, or coordinating products from the Heroarts that I plan on using today. So I've done set die cutting, no cards in mind. Don't have a clue what I'm gonna do yet. I did some bookmarks just in case I want to do some bookmarks. I also cut just panels of watercolor paper or basic white cardstock. I have some of it too. And I put everything in envelopes, and I've also cut some frames and just panels, just using some A2 dies. So after I get all my die cutting done that I'm planning on using, or that I think I might use. Now, this doesn't mean it's going to be the only dies I'm going to use. I might pull something else from my stash when I start to sit down and really lay out the cards and start making something. Or it might be, I don't know. But I take everything that I'm planning on using, and I take just a photo box, and I put everything in there. And all these are just in little white envelopes from Walmart. I got a box of 80 count just meat envelopes, and I stick everything in there. I reuse my envelopes, but it just goes in my box. Now, at this point, I can start my stamping. I can start the stamping process. And I'm just going to that's all I'm going to do at this point. Like the first step was, all I did was just decisionless die cutting, besides what I knew I wanted to use. Now I'm just going to do some stamping. But while we're stamping, we're going to take our panels here that we've done, and we're going to also stamp on those also. And I'll explain more about that like in a minute. I'm going to take those out. Save these frames. But I've just got a sheet of Canson 140-pound watercolor paper, and that's what I've cut these with, because I'm going to do watercolor. You do you, boo. Do whatever you like to do. If you want to just color or you just want to do stamping, just do that. But I've got my paper here. I've got some waterproof ink that I'm going to be using today. I'm going to use my Heroarts Intense Black ink, and then my Archival Rangers Pebble Path, and probably my Shadow ink. And I may even switch to my Versafy. But I'm just going to start by just doing stamping and enjoy the process. So I have this cute little Heroart stamp that I'm going to use right here. This is the Heroart Florals, and it is let me see. This is called Antique Bee. So I'm going to take out the stamps that I think I'm going to use. Let's see, I'll just put these on my block. You probably need a little bigger block for that. Just going to stamp these down. Now, while I'm stamping, remember I have those frames. I'm going to make a set of simple cards as well on my panels here. So I'm going to ink this up, and I'm just going to stamp it down. And then I'm also going to add my sentiment to my simple cards. So now, once I get all my simple cards made at the same time, I will have an almost complete set of cards ready to go that I can just add color to. Alright, so now I have all my stamping done, and I got to just relax and enjoy the stamping process. There. And I still decisionless, still really don't have any idea of what kind of cards I'm going to design, what kind of cards I'm going to make, but I got to enjoy the process and without any decision fatigue. And now also remember I told you to stamp a set of simple cards. So now I have the simple cards with the sentiments already stamped, and they're almost complete cards. So now all I have to do is add color when I have time. Maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 10 minutes here, there. You can have those, just put them back in my box, which is what we're going to do here. We're just going to put all that back in the box, and then when I have time to come in color and just enjoy the coloring process, I can come back and pull my box and pull those out. So I can say, okay, like maybe tonight, stamping night, you got to sit and enjoy the process without less fatigue. Tomorrow night might be coloring. Maybe you have 5-10 minutes here and there, and you can come back and color some of your images. And the great part about this is you can take them pretty much anywhere. So next thing I would do is I would color my images. So I'm going to use my Heroarts watercolors. So I've got my little water cup right there off to the side. I've got a paper towel. Maybe your favorite thing is coloring with alcohol markers. Just stamping your alcohol-friendly ink, and when you have time to color, sit and enjoy the coloring process the same way that I'm going to do. In case I need to mix any colors, I'm just going to use those primary colors. Then I'm going to sit and enjoy the painting process now. And it doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to be fancy about it. You can just sit and enjoy your coloring process. I can sit and do this in the evenings. I can sit and watch a movie with Charles, or he can be watching a TV show, and I can just be sitting there and enjoying painting. All right. Okay, so now I've finished my coloring process. Now it's time to move on to the next step. And remember, I told you to stamp a set of simple cards. I have pre-colored those, so now I can just take these and put them in my box, and I have these ready to go once I'm ready to make a simple card. So I stick those right in my box. And then our next step is going to be fantastic fussy cutting. Yes, and I did say fantastic. So we're going to cut our images out. If you have exact match dies or dies coordinating dies, you can just use your dies to cut those out. But we're just going to cut these out. And when I'm fussy cutting, I can sit down and watch a movie and do this, put it in a bowl. I don't worry too much about getting super close to things or cutting out every little piece. I don't worry about fur or antennas. I just cut those off. Now at this point, I can start playing around and coming up with some designs. But what I do is I lay everything out that I've got. I've got my die cuts over here that I may want to use. So I can kind of just audition things and pull them out and see what I think is going to work. But I always have my card panels, and those are just card front size. And I could add that and just have like a real cute, I think that would make a really cute card. Playing those off of each other. But you also could just see what kind of works. Once I get an idea that I think I'm going to like, I just take one of my envelopes and I just slide the entire card panel in there, and I still play around with that. Alright, so once I get my ideas, then I just take my envelopes and I just slip them back in my box. And that way, when I have time to make a card, I can easily pull one of my envelopes and sit down and make that card. All right, so after all of your sessions and you've put your cards together, then you end up with your beautiful cards. So, like for my first card, I did use the iris stamp set and created that card just with a little stenciling and just have my fuzzy cut pieces on there and added my sentiment. Here's the clematis clementine stamp set. There's my watercolor flowers. I have stamped a little something in the background, added a little thread and some embellishments, and have my little frame. And then here is our bead card that has our embossed and die cut bead frame. And then I just added the sentiment and my little die cut bead that I cut out. Then with the wreath from that set, I created a little birthday card, a square card, and just added the sentiment and my flowers. And here's my little tulip bouquet. I just added the scallop behind and added a bow and some little pearls, some little pearlescent dot drops. And then I made with the last iris image, I used that die cut friend to have the hello on it. Stamped some of the small bees from the antique bee stamp set and added my iris on there to finish that card off. Now remember I said to stamp a set of simple cards. Here are my simple cards. I've just simply added them to a card base. Once they were colored, I painted them as I was during my painting session and just got them painted. And that way I could just add them to a card base and have all my set of 4 simple cards, which make a great gift that you could give to someone. But here are all my cards that I have made using this process that you just witnessed, just stamping it, doing everything in batches. It's so hard to fit everything on the screen. All right, that's it for me. I hope y'all give this a try, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys. Love you.